I lived and worked in the Dallas-Fort Worth area for many years, from about 1953 until 1973, more or less. And I didn't know of a white-tailed deer in this part of the state of Texas. And I was amazed when my son invited me to come on a deer hunt up here. And I was very intrigued.
It was about the middle of December and the deer here going nuts. I mean, we had just really been fortunate to hit it right. You know, the leaves are almost off all the trees, and it's winter time. It's cold up here in North Texas. Typically the wind's blowing hard, and it has been, so there aren't any leaves left on hardly any of the trees, because not only did they change colors, but they're gone because of the wind. But the deer, I mean, they're starting to do their thing. What's so cool is to be able to watch these bucks come out now, and they're starting to move around. They're not interested in feed. They could care less about feed. They're interested in one thing, and that's the girls. And so the good thing about it is you see a lot of activity. Deer moving all back and forth at all hours of the day. The bad thing about it is they're totally unpredictable. But again, now a good thing about it is because they're super hot to trot, so to speak, they respond real well vocally. So if you have one going off and you want to get him to stop and get a better look at him, well, you have to just take a doe bleep, stop them. And I mean, they'll stop and look at you. It's like, ooh, are you the real thing? Nah. But it's cool because we're hitting the rut just right.
Well, now it's 5:30 and it's getting close to dark. The sun's going down. It's almost down to the top of the ridge on the other side of the clearing that we're watching. And we can see a nice buck has come into view, and we're hoping that this buck we see will maybe attract a friend. And at that moment, the cameraman who's looking through this powerful video camera says, "I see him coming." And I'm just struggling with the departing sun and the light in my scope and trying to see out the slot in the blind, and the cameraman saying, here he comes, he's beautiful." And he came around the corner and I got a glimpse of him, but he was back in the brush. No way I could get a shot at him. And he was almost within range, and I could see through the scope, and things were getting really tense there for a minute. And the cameraman's in charge. When you're on a hunt like this, the cameraman tells you when to shoot and when not to shoot. And I had my finger on the trigger and was watching this buck and hoping he would clear out of the brush and give me a clear shot, and he came out, and cameraman John said, "Take him if you want him." But he was walking, he was trotting along, and Keith let out a bah and stopped him, and I put the old 300 Savage on him and pulled the trigger. Well, at the shot, I could see the bullet hit, and I saw the deer kick out his hind legs. I heard the thump, and he started running to my right, and I knew he was fatally hit, and he turned toward the stock tank there, and I thought he was going to run into the stock tank like a moose. And he fell and went just below the bank, and he had fallen right on the edge of the water. That's as good a whitetail as I have ever seen.
I know what that bump is right there. Oh my gosh, Dad.
Look at his war wound here. He's knocked off a brow point.
Well, yeah, he did knock off a brow point. That is
look at the length of those. Look at this.
He's got a kicker to make up for the lost brow point.
You know, think about this. This ranch is a prime example of a landowner that took this piece of property and dedicated it to wildlife. I mean, when you said you were here 40 years ago and there weren't any animals out here.
There weren't any deer here at all.
That's right.
I mean, if it wasn't for people like Dick and Maureen Kane, there's no way that this place would be here. I mean, they dedicated it to wildlife, and folks, there are people all over the country that are doing the same thing, dedicating their land to wildlife. But I mean, this is one heck of a deer. You know, thank goodness that white-tailed deer have value, because if they didn't have any value, this land right here would probably be condominiums. I mean, and that's the truth. Dick, Thank you so much.
You're very welcome. And
Thank
I'll tell
you.
you what, thank you for bringing your dad.
Thank
He
you,
was
sir.
a hell of a shot. That was a great.
I'm feeling, I know what this is. That's a 300 Savage bullet right there.
Oh,
Thank
man.
you.